Fantasy Gaming here with another Ghost of Yotei video. Are you tired of putting in many hours into making someone else's decent build only to get second highest kills on the scoreboard? Do you want survivability and to dominate any enemy with pure self-sufficiency and non-reliance on others? Well, look no further as we deep dive into the absolute strongest samurai build currently in the game, the Immortal Warrior. This build hacks, stabs, and literally blows back the game's enemies, allowing a Mayweather approach to any engagement. Offensive and defensive synergy. The Samurai class is the only class that requires you to bypass the enemy's stagger bar, unfortunately, before you lay down the hurt. So with that being said, let's look at the build, starting with the techniques. I'd like to take Raging Flame. It not only helps us with tons of damage, but it also helps us when we're using our Kasarigama we get from Weapon Master to do an omnidirectional attack spin, hitting tons of enemies, getting tons of spirit that we're going to be using for spirit attacks later on. With perk 1, we're going to take increased melee stagger for that additional stagger, which if we combine with our passive ability, gives us 40% extra stagger, which is huge as the samurai is the only class, like I said, that has to bypass the stagger bar before doing the hurt. Perk 2, we're going to take parry damage. So with parry damage, not only is it really good for playing defensively, but if we combine it with the Samurai's Bracers, we now are stacking the Samurai's Bracers with that perk to deal massive amounts of stagger damage to people that we are parrying. Um, Perk 3, we're going to be taking Hachiman's Zeal. Hachiman's Zeal gives you a 60-second post-ult buff against enemies that you are attacking, and every single time you stagger somebody with Samurai's Bracers, with this percentage perk we have, as long as you are using the right weapon against them, you will be staggering and healing off those staggers. So, give you an example. There's shield guys all around you, and you use your omnidirectional attack with the ball chain. Every single one you stagger, you're healing 12% of your health. So you could easily, if there's 3 of them, heal 36% of your health just like that. So we do not need uh, spirit pull or any other stuff with this build because due to staggering, playing offensively, we'll be healing, and due to parrying and playing defensively, we will be healing as well. So that's as far as the perks go. Let's move on to the equipment. The first one is the Thunderous Katana. This legendary is completely underrated for the samurai. The problem is that a lot of people have in the game is there's 5 enemies around you and they all have different weapons. Okay, how do we get some space? How do we get some distance? Well, since we're going to be getting spirit constantly, we're going to be using the Heavenly Slash. Not only does this spirit attack do the most damage against single target, but it also is quicker than all the other spirit attacks. So having that extra 30% chance to throw enemies back, get some breathing room, I'll take that any day of the week. Next, we're going to move on to the Vigilant Dual Katana. This is useful for me personally because out of all the different enemy types, the hardest ones to parry are the polearm users, especially if they have the modifier where their attacks come out quicker. So if I don't want to risk it, say multiple people on the team are dead, I'm trying to clutch up, then I can just throw out a heavy attack which will automatically parry that polearm attack. Then I got the Swift Yari. The Swift Yari is the only Yari that allows you to do a running sweep attack by running and pressing triangle, which then you can combo into other attacks after you trip them. I think that's the best Yari in the game. The Relentless Odachi is the best Odachi for the Samurai. You'll see that other Odachis are effective against brutes, whereas the Relentless is extremely effective against brutes. So all that means is that you're going to get more stagger damage as a base. Concussion Bomb is very, very useful due to sometimes there will be a modifier where you have to kill with a ranged attack. So to make you not so reliant on other team members, using this is the go-to because of how much value and AoE you can get with your concussion bombs. Um, Already talked about samurai bracers. We'll deep dive a little bit more on it in a second. And then with the sidearm's just very useful for securing your kills. There would be many times where you will combo someone and there'll be a sliver of health left, but oh no, their guard's up. You know, uh, this allows you to just at the end of a combo shoot them and then keep it pushing, keep that momentum, keep that flow state, if you will. So let's talk about percentage perks. You'll see that we have perfect parry window on 2 and perfect counter damage on 3. So as far as that goes, very simple, um, very self-explanatory. It'll be easy to parry, and when we do, we're doing more damage. Um, when we stagger enemies, enemy staggered damage means that any type of damage we do to them while they're staggered is increased by that percent. So that's why we have it on 3 different ones, because we're staggering constantly. Increased melee damage on 2 of them, because the melee damage is just helpful on top of our enemy stagger damage. And then you'll see Spirit Move on 2 of them. 40% Spirit Move with Heavenly Slash, that's good enough for me, especially if they're staggered and we're using it, to get that increased damage. Um, so that's the Immortal Samurai build. There's not much to it. It's pretty simple, pretty self-explanatory. You're going to be constantly healing naturally and doing spirit attacks and countering every single person with the fact that the samurai can use every single type of weapon. So if you guys liked the video and don't want to miss out on the future build videos that I'm dropping for all my other OP builds that I have right now, then subscribe. If you don't really want to subscribe, then I don't really care. I just do this for the love of the game. Alright, I'll see y'all. Have a good day. Bye.